To me, that's inspirational, whether it, just listening to Caitlin, her work ethic and what's important to her. And I mean, she's just starting, her round of golf, if her journey. I mean,
I was trying to think of who else maybe could play today, especially in women's sports that would.
Okay, imagine this. One athlete in a single day completely redefines what it means to be a superstar. Sound crazy? Well, that's exactly what went down when Caitlin Clark. Yet, the Caitlin Clark, the one who basically rewrote basketball history, stepped onto a golf course, and on this breezy Friday morning at an event nobody expected to be a big deal, she did the impossible. She didn't just play golf, she sent shockwaves through the entire sports world, leaving legends like Tiger Woods speechless and Steph Curry absolutely stunned.
Yeah. All roads lead to the Annika Pro-Am. Trust me, all roads, all cameras, all people will be tuned in for the Annika Pro-Am. Why? To see the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, take over the show.
Now here's the kicker. While the golf elite were practically tripping over themselves to welcome her, it was crickets from her own league. Seriously, the WNBA? Deafening silence. Her biggest rivals, Aja Wilson and Angel Reese, had absolutely nothing to say. So it really makes you wonder, right? Has Caitlin Clark just completely outgrown her competition? Like so much that they can't even stand to see her succeed? What do you think about that? It all kicked off at the RSM Classic Pro-Am. Normally, this event is super chill, just a bunch of celebs having a good time. Low stakes, light mood, total exhibition. But the minute Caitlin Clark's name popped up on that player list, boom. Tradition gone. It turned into a media circus the golf world usually only sees at a major championship. The news exploded everywhere, especially on social media. This niche little golf event became the main event. Fans were lining up at the course hours before sunrise. Some even drove all night just to catch a glimpse of history. You could feel the energy in the air. It was this crazy mix of curiosity and just pure belief from her loyal fans.
Places, every media outlet is covering this, and you don't say anything. That's what we were talking about this whole season. We were correct. The fans that were saying that the WNBA seems to be trying to quiet the noise of Caitlin Clark, not letting her shine to her full.
And get this, tickets for this thing? They sold out in minutes. We're talking about the hottest ticket in sports, with resale prices shooting up to Masters level highs. The scene there was just wild. Seriously, unlike anything anyone had ever seen. For the first time ever, the crowd was this massive sea of Iowa black and gold, mixed with Indiana Fever blue jerseys. There were more Caitlin Clark jerseys than actual golf hats or polo shirts. Vendors were totally caught off guard too. They sold out of all Clark merchandise before the first group even teed off. The atmosphere wasn't just excited, it was absolutely electric. Everyone was just buzzing, ready to witness this massive crossover moment, something that truly went beyond just sports. And then, when the announcer's voice boomed out, from the University of Iowa, now representing the Indiana Fever, please welcome Caitlin Clark. You could literally feel the entire golf course hold its breath. It was this collective pause. Everyone just knew they weren't watching an athlete. They were seeing a cultural phenomenon step onto a completely new stage.
Caitlin is involved. Pro-Am tickets are $25, and event organizers saw demand increase 1,200% for the Pro-Am because of Clark, one of the most popular figures in the sports world. 1,200%. Oh, it's because of me too. No.
Okay, this was more than just a golf tournament. It was the Caitlin Clark show, plain and simple. Everyone there, they just knew they were about to see something legendary, something people would talk about for years. Then came the big moment, her very first drive. The air was so thick with tension, the kind you usually only feel during a sudden death playoff. She stepped onto the tee box, and thousands of fans just went completely silent. It was so quiet you could hear the wind rustling the grass, even a bird calling in the distance. All eyes were on her. This basketball star, in a golf skirt holding a driver, she went through her routine, locked in, totally blocking out the whole world. Then she swung. It was powerful, athletic, and surprisingly precise for someone just starting out. That crisp, explosive crack of the club hitting the ball, it echoed like thunder across the green, a sound that just screamed, "A new force has arrived." The ball launched, a perfect, powerful arc, a white missile against the clear blue sky. It just sailed, like it had a mind of its own, landing cleanly beyond 70 yards. That's a huge distance for any amateur, let alone a rookie. The crowd just absolutely erupted in pure joy and shock. Reporters were scrambling for their phones, desperate to be the first to break the news. Camera flashes lit up the course like 1,000 paparazzi.
Just the presence alone of Caitlin Clark, they understand what that could do for their sport. They understand that let's say 1,000 new eyeballs, 10,000 new eyeballs show up. If only they could get a fraction of those new eyeballs to become fans, they understand that's a win.
So even Tiger Woods was watching from the sidelines. He had this small, knowing smile, just pure admiration, almost like a silent nod from one GOAT to another potential GOAT. And Steph Curry later said it was the best first swing he'd ever seen. That's some serious praise coming from a fellow basketball player turned golfer, and it really carries a lot of weight. Almost immediately, headlines from Golf Digest and ESPN just blew up the internet. They were calling her a natural crossover talent, basically saying she had changed golf forever. But here's the thing, all that immediate overwhelming praise from the golf world, it was a wild contrast to how she'd been treated all season in the WNBA. Some folks were even saying the league seemed more interested in quieting her noise instead of amplifying it. That stark difference? Nobody missed it. And that, my friends, is where this whole story takes a controversial turn, because while the golf world was busy celebrating her, making memes and highlight reels,
when Clark's name affiliated with the event, they know the pub that is gonna bring and everything that's gonna come with it. So obviously they are gonna do what's best for business. Unlike the WNBA, let's be clear here. It's just so funny, and I said this in a video before.
Meanwhile, two very specific voices from the basketball world were completely missing in action. I'm talking about A'ja Wilson and Angel Reese. These two had been so vocal, so pointed all season in the WNBA, but now, not a single word of congratulations on any of their social media. This wasn't just some small oversight either. For a lot of people, it just confirmed a pattern that had been building for months, almost like a Cold War playing out in the press and on the court. All season long, Clark had faced a really physical gauntlet with hard fouls and flagrant plays. Some of those were even upgraded by the league later after review. She was publicly labeled privilege, which just felt like it dismissed all her hard work and talent. And she was constantly targeted with intense personal trash talk. Plus, a lot of fans and analysts felt the league itself didn't promote her historic, record-shattering rookie season with the enthusiasm it deserved. They often focus more on collective efforts than on her individual star power. So, the silence after her golf triumph, that felt like the final damning piece of the puzzle. It was almost like her success in another sport, a place where her pure athleticism was undeniable, was the ultimate proof of her truly unique, transcendent stardom. A kind of stardom that some of her peers, and maybe even the league itself, just seemed unwilling to fully embrace or felt threatened by. Fans who'd argued all season that there was this deliberate, coordinated effort to humble Caitlin Clark, well, they felt totally vindicated now. Their theories were backed up by this deafening silence from her biggest on-court rivals. But listen to this, the reception Clark got from the golf community? It couldn't have been more different. It was literally a tale of two sports. In her own sport, she was sometimes treated like an outsider, a rookie who needed to be put in her place. But on the green, she was welcomed like royalty. Nelly Korda, the LPGA superstar and world #1, actually walked up to Clark on the practice range and told her, "You're welcome here, you belong here." That gesture of inclusion, it spoke volumes. Another top player, Maria Fassi, told reporters that Caitlin's energy is pure and that she brings a fire we've been missing. She even highlighted the positive impact Clark could have beyond just ticket sales. This wasn't just politeness, either. It was a smart, strategic recognition of her generational star power and its massive potential to grow the game. The golf world, which can seem pretty traditional, totally understood the business tsunami she could bring. They saw that undeniable 100% spike in ticket demand and knew that even a fraction of Clark's millions of fans could become new dedicated golf followers. They'd buy merchandise, watch broadcasts, go to events. Unlike the WNBA, which some critics say fumbled the bag by not fully capitalizing on her arrival, the PGA and LPGA saw a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. They rolled out the red carpet proactively. They saw a rising tide that could lift all boats, and they chose to celebrate it. It was a business decision that also felt like a genuine embrace of a truly special athlete. And then, the real history-making moment, the one that cemented this day in sports lore, was still to come. The stage was set on hole. It's a challenging, lengthy par 4 with a narrow fairway and a really well-guarded green. Even seasoned PGA pros sometimes struggle here, often leading to bogeys or worse. The crowd, still buzzing from her earlier drives, once again fell into an anticipatory silence. The pressure just kept mounting with every step she took towards her ball. Clark, showing this incredible natural calm, lined up her shot. Her eyes were fixed on a target way off in the distance. She took a deep, visible breath, a moment of complete concentration, and then she swung. The contact was pure. The ball just soared, a perfect white against the vast blue sky. Its trajectory was flawless, so powerful, drawing gasps from the audience as it flew. It landed on the front of the green with a gentle, promising thud, and then it was like it was guided by an invisible hand. It started to roll and roll and roll, tracking directly toward the pin. It came to a heart-stopping stop, mere inches from the cup. A tap-in birdie that honestly felt more like an eagle. The gasps from the crowd turned into a roar of pure disbelief and admiration, just a collective release of awe. When she finished her round, the scoreboard told an unbelievable story, 13 under par. Caitlin Clark hadn't just played well, she had shattered the previous Pro-Am record, posting a number that would have been competitive in the actual main tournament. The business impact was totally undeniable and instantly measurable. Event organizers later said that demand for Pro-Am tickets, which are usually cheap and easy to get, had exploded by 1,200%, solely because of Clark. Tiger Woods himself, analyzing the shot later, was heard calling it one of the cleanest, most confident swings I've ever seen from a non-pro. That's the ultimate seal of approval from the man who redefined the game. With this historic achievement, the entire narrative around Caitlin Clark underwent a permanent, dramatic shift. It was a seismic change in perception that played out in real time across the digital world. Social media didn't just buzz, it absolutely exploded into a full-blown cultural moment. Caitlin Clark, golf trended at #1 worldwide on Twitter, and that was just the beginning. Instagram and TikTok were flooded with clips of her swing, the crowd's roar, and that near miraculous putt on hole 7. Comparisons, comparing her to iconic multi-sport athletes like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, went viral. Sports analysts on debate shows were actually forced to pivot from their usual topics just to dissect what all this meant for the future of athletics. The conversation was no longer just about basketball or even golf fans. It captured the attention of a mainstream audience, people who might not even know a par from a birdie, but they totally understood the magnitude of a superstar transcending her sport. And in the middle of this global celebration, there was this specific telling detail that fans online really spotlighted. They noticed that A'ja Wilson, on that very same day, had posted an Instagram story, but it was just a carefully curated promotion for a brand collaboration. Absolutely no mention of Clark's groundbreaking feat. The contrast couldn't have been more stark or more damning in the public's eyes. While one woman was being hailed as a generational talent on a global stage, the other was doing routine influencer marketing. It felt so out of step with the historic moment unfolding in the sports world. Comments on Wilson's posts, and across other platforms, were quickly flooded with pointed questions and outright criticism. Things like, "Why can't you be happy for her?" and "Caitlin is making history and you're silent." Those were just some of the common things people were saying, but the sentiment went way deeper. Fans started connecting the dots, pulling up timelines of past interactions, perceived slights, and all the physical on-court treatment Clark had endured all season. This single act of silence was seen as a final undeniable data point in a season-long pattern. For the first time, the court of public opinion was decisively, overwhelmingly in Clark's favor. The story was no longer about a talented rookie being initiated into the pros through hazing and hardship. Now it was about a global phenomenon being validated outside the arena she was supposed to be confined to. The golf course had become an impartial judge, and its verdict was clear. Caitlin Clark's talent was so immense, it simply couldn't be contained by one single game. The silence from her WNBA rivals, which some might have once seen as competitive gamesmanship or just indifference, was now universally viewed through a totally different lens. It wasn't seen as a slight against Clark anymore. It was widely interpreted as a telling reflection on them, a sign of pettiness, maybe jealousy, or just a stubborn refusal to acknowledge a reality that was now obvious to the entire world. This narrative flip was absolutely the underdog story that some tried to craft against Clark, painting her as overhyped and privileged, completely evaporated. In its place was the story of a singular athlete celebrated by legends from other sports, while those closest to her professionally could only offer silence that spoke volumes about their own stature and comparison. This moment just cemented it. Caitlin Clark wasn't just playing a different game on the golf course, she was operating on an entirely different level of stardom, one that her detractors in the WNBA simply could not or would not reach. So what does all of this mean? Look, we're watching something far bigger than just a talented athlete having a good day in a different sport. We are actually witnessing the birth of a new kind of archetype in athletics. Caitlin Clark is no longer just a basketball player. She has completely transcended that title to become a cultural force, a whole movement all her own. She represents a huge shift in how we think about greatness. She's proving it's not some narrow path, but a vast, wide-open field. From the roaring crowds in college arenas to the sold-out WNBA games where her presence alone rewrote attendance records, and now to the record-breaking hushed reverence of golf greens, she is systematically rewriting the rules of what a female athlete can be, and more importantly, what she is allowed to be. For decades, female athletes often felt pressured to specialize, to be grateful for their lane, and to stay in it. But with one swing of a golf club, Clark didn't just hit a ball, she swung open a massive door. She's emboldened every young girl who was ever told to stay in your lane, to focus on one thing, or not to rock the boat. She proved that true generational greatness is inherently disruptive. It cannot be contained by one sport. It cannot be forced into false humility, and it will not be silenced by jealousy or institutional hesitation. Her journey is a living, breathing testament to relentless ambition, a case study in how undeniable talent, when combined with fearless work ethic, can shatter ceilings we didn't even know were there. Think about the message this sends to the next generation. A young girl can now look at Caitlin Clark and see not just a basketball hero, but a figure who commands respect across the entire sporting world. She sees an athlete celebrated by Tiger Woods and Steph Curry, welcomed by Nelly Korda, and even talked about on financial networks for her staggering economic impact. This expands the dream itself. It's no longer just about making it to the league. It's about understanding that your potential is limitless, that your identity as a competitor can be fluid and powerful across multiple domains. The Clark effect is now a real, tangible phenomenon beyond basketball. We're talking a 100% spike in ticket demand, global trending topics, and golf clubs flying off the shelves because young fans are inspired to emulate her. This isn't just fandom, it's a cultural awakening. The question now hanging over the entire sports world isn't just about what she'll do next on the basketball court. That almost feels like a given, right? More records, more highlights, more wins. No, the truly captivating mystery lies elsewhere. Will she, fueled by this shocking success, start formal training with golf pros in the WNBA offseason? That mere prospect sends a thrill through the golf community. Could we even see her accept a sponsor's exemption to play in a future LPGA event, drawing a TV audience that would absolutely shatter all previous tour records? The speculation doesn't even stop there. If she can conquer two sports so decisively, what's stopping her from trying a third? The discipline of a soccer star, The hand-eye coordination of a baseball player. The narrative possibilities are endless, and for the first time, they don't seem like some fantasy. Every brand, every league, every marketer is now looking at her and seeing infinite potential. The WNBA's handling of her rookie season, for sure, will now be scrutinized under an even harsher light. Was their perceived reluctance to fully lean into her stardom a historic miscalculation? Did they fail to recognize the tide they were sitting on? A tide that other sports are now more than willing to ride. The contrast between her reception in her home league and her royal welcoming in golf will be a topic of debate for years to come. It's a cautionary tale about whether sports institutions are truly prepared for a superstar of this magnitude. But one thing is absolutely certain. The world is only just beginning to see what Caitlin Clark is truly capable of. That golf pro-am was not an ending. It was a revelation. It was a proof of concept. If this, a record-breaking performance in a brand new sport, was just her first swing, then the future she is building is going to be absolutely breathtaking. We are on the verge of a new era where an athlete's influence isn't limited to their main sport. It ripples outwards, lifting the entire industry and redefining what's possible. She stands at the crossroads of sports, culture, and business, and every path forward looks revolutionary.